Now we need to get to the selling part and answer the question why I don't show houses. All right, I'm running some ads. I'm doing whatever I need to do. By the way, Facebook Marketplace is about the only place you need to advertise when you're selling with a lease purchase. When you're selling with a lease purchase, you're catering to the 70% of the people who would like to buy a home but can't qualify. 70%. They're all yours. They're all yours. And actually, I'm not selling on a lease purchase. I'm renting on a lease purchase. They have the right to buy. So I'm giving them a lease with an option. My options are for 2 years. Yeah, I can extend it as long as I've got one right now. Been in there 11 years, and haven't bought it yet. Never will. If they don't buy it within 2 years, unlikely they're going to buy it even after that, for a lot of reasons. Now, when my tenant buyers give me a big non-refundable deposit, which all of them do, a minimum of 5% of the purchase price, sometimes at 10%, that deposit is non-refundable. That you certainly got to know. That means they don't get it back if they don't buy. They do get it back by a credit on the closing statement, which is that much less they have to bring in, or if they, well, they do get it back only if they get a loan will they get it back. So most of the people don't save their deposit because they just won't need to do what they need to do to get cleaned up to get their credit back, whatever. I mean, their loan done, whatever that might be. It might be credit, debt ratio. I mean, you name it. A lot of people get turned down. Now, I got a statistic off the web to say 35% get turned down, but that's the only ones applied. I just made that 70 up because I know there's another 35% don't even apply because they can't qualify. Okay, we're catering to all of those people on a lease purchase because we're their entryway into a home of their own in the near future. They can live in there, take plenty of time to clean up what they need to clean up, like raise their credit score. I can even send them to a feller who can score 100 points in 7 months. So credit's one of the easiest ones to overcome. So the process is we generate leads to get them to call Pat Live. That's ronlegrand.com/Pat Live. You might as well write that down because they're in your future if you're going to do real estate. They take the inbound calls off your back. Remember, Pat Live does the inbound calls. Our VAs do the outbound calls to complete the property information sheets. Now, selling, however, our marketing is going to drive them into Pat Live, but with a different script than when they call. When they answer the phone, they say, "Are you calling to sell or to buy?" And now let's say they're calling to buy. They go over and complete the buyer script, and in that buyer script, we find out how much money they got to put down, and then how much they can afford to pay per month, and that will determine whether we're even going to give them the lockbox code to the lockbox. Because if they got very little or no money, there's no sense in dealing with them. In fact, you get them out of your life. If they got some money and you think you can get more out of them, which you almost always can, then you'll give them a lockbox code. And then, of course, you want to know what their income is and see if you think that income is enough to cover this new debt plus all the things they got going on in their life. But you won't find that out till you actually get an short application from them, and actually send it to screenthetenant.com to get the answers on whether they can qualify or not and what's broke, credit and Megan's Law search and background research and so forth. All of that for $50. But I'm not going to send $50 to screenthetenant.com until I find out if this person's got any money, got any I think can afford the house. So we start with getting the information from the buyer, send it forward to you. You call the buyer. I got a script where you can just follow the script, and by the time you're through, you'll find out if that buyer even deserves to get the key to get in that house. In your lockbox, by the way, when you put a lockbox on it, just hide another key on the premises, waiting the time by which you got a buyer out there that can't get in because there's no key in the lockbox. The last person in stole it. You got to hide one on the premises. So then you got to send somebody out there after that to put a couple more keys on the property. So we only call the people who have some money. I won't take less than 5% down payment. I'd rather have the house vacant than take less than 5% down payment. And so will you. If you're going to be a landlord, you be one with lease option tenant buyers, you're going to find it a totally different business than the one I used to be in with over 200 HUD Section 8 tenants. No, that's not the way I want to grow wealthy. All right, so you got a reason to call them on the phone. All right, while you're on the phone with them, you can get some little information from them, which I got a whole page that you can just fill out. And you're doing that. because you might want to put them on your buyer's list. So if you give this page of information to your VA, they'll put it on your buyer's list for you. And that'll be probably your most valuable asset in your business when you come to sell. Every time you get a house, you just email a list. I got one. Better hurry. First come, first serve. Now, what drives them in? The words lease purchase for the most part, but then no credit is one, and immediate occupancy might be another. Whatever you think would compel people in your ads. All right, so in your ads, they're calling Pat Live. Pat Live's only got 6 questions they ask them. One of them is how much you dial and how much per month, which is really all I care about right now. When that comes to you, you know whether you want to call them or not. If you like them, you give them the lockbox to the key, lockbox to the house. So then you tell me. If they got the lockbox to the house and they can get in, what the heck do I need to show up for? I'm telling you, they want to dream on their own. They know what a toilet looks like. They know what a kitchen looks like. They don't need me there. Save me a lot of trips. Now, remember, I'm not even sending anybody to the house till I know they're close to having enough money to satisfy me, which means there ain't but a few people going to go through the house, because most of your callers are going to be worthless waste of time. So screen them out quickly. Let Pat Live do that. Only when you got somebody that looks like they're at least worth a shot at it. All right, let's see. One of the big questions on the script is, have you tried to buy a house before? And if they answer yes, my answer is going to be, well, what stopped you? And that's a big question for me, because I'll know what I'm dealing with. Try not to forget this. Got to keep in mind who we're sending to the house. They can't qualify for a loan. They probably got weak or poor credit. The more money I get from up front from them, the less I care. Now, I'm not putting anybody in the house that can't afford the payments. It's just setting them up for failure. But I'm just telling you, the more money they got to put down, the more lenient I am going to be. I am not looking for people with good credit. If they got good credit, they'll go to a realtor and buy a house that way. I'm looking for the people who don't. I expect them to have problems. I try to make them know up front that we will get you in this house regardless of what your past is, but I still have the right to determine what that is. People in prison, for example, to get out of prison, that ain't stop me from lease optioning to them. I guess it kind of depends on what they got convicted for. I don't know. Maybe if they murdered 3 people, maybe I shouldn't lease option the house to them. But a lot of the things that people in the general world, their mindset is they got to have great credit and they got to be, walk on water. I can't give them the keys to my property. I want the rest, as long as they got money. And you'll be surprised how many people can come up with money when you can put them in a house of their own that they can call their own. Because frankly, they got control of it till their option expires. You got a big old market out there of people who deserve to be in a house but just can't get qualified at the bank, which is going to get harder and harder as we go forward, making the opportunity to feed the market a house to live in better for us. The harder it is for people to get qualified, the easier it is for us to get people in the house.